Guys, we're taking a look at the Gripping Beast Arab Heavy Cavalry and Arab Light Cavalry and Horse Archer box sets. This is another one of those twin sets from Gripping Beast where a lot of the sprue gets reused, recycled. So we're going to take a look at the similarities and differences between these boxes to try and figure out which one you want. So we're going to take a look at the Light Cavalry and Horse Archer sprue first. So each box comes with 4 of these sprues, Renedra bases here. These sprues are nice and jam-packed, as you can see, with all kinds of goodies here. Let's take a look at the horses first. They differ slightly from other versions of Gripping Beast Cavalry with the addition of the little bit of barding or cloth on these horses here and some little pieces of flair. I really like these. You've got 4 quivers for the horse archers, and then you've got 2 of these. Oh, I guess those are also quivers. And we've got 3 sets of legs, nothing crazy there. We've got 3 bows in every sprue. We've got 3 shields. There are 3 spears. Now 2 of these spears are actually, I would say, spears, and this one's a little smaller. I would call this one a javelin, actually. There's 2 swords and an additional club hand weapon here. So you can do a hand weapon style equipment. We've got 3 sheathed swords and actually 1, sort of javelin sheath. So I like having these. So if you give your guys bows, you can still add these extra bits to show that they might be a fighter and a shooter. We've got a horn. And then for the torsos, we've got these robed versions, 3 of those, and then kind of some fancier shirts here. We've got 8 heads, 2 kind of this top knot style, and then the rest are kind of just hats. So you're going to end up, no matter which equipment option you choose, you're going to end up with quite a few extra sword, bow, or spear bits. About 20 extra Arab-style heads. Perfect for a generic box of Gripping Beast Dark Age warriors, if you want to turn those guys kind of Arabic looking. Now let's pop up the Heavy Cavalry sprue. So this is 2 of them side by side. So you can see the horse bottom half bits are basically identical. What do we have here? It's actually 5 bows for whatever reason in this kit. So it actually has more bows than the cavalry kit. So it doesn't say on the box, well, I guess it says in little print on the back, it does say you can equip them with bows. Yeah, this one just has more stuff. I would say you got 2 spear options. And then look at these smaller javelins. I would say 2 javelin options. And obviously once, they're on the battlefield, these are probably pretty interchangeable. You've got the same swords again, same horn, exactly the same shields. And up top for the torsos, we're looking at just armored versions of these. We've got 8 heads once again. All of these ones are helmeted. So the Heavy Cavalry sprue overall a little more jam-packed than the Light Cav one. Extra bows, extra spears. Let's build some of these up, see how they go together. I'm actually going to do a unit of Light Cavalry mounted horse archers for this go around. Let's see how they build up. Overall assemblies fairly easy, apart from the horse bodies, which have specific pairings. You can mix and match any pieces you want. You can definitely take an assembly line approach on these. Now this kit will require a lot more gap filling, green stuff work than the last kit I looked at, the Goth and Roman cavalry sets. You can see this particular horse has quite an atrocious gap. that they don't even try to hide with the reins. This one is actually the worst of the 3 horses. The other 2 are a little bit better. Still, we'll be doing the necks, the front of the horses, the back rump, and then where the arms connect at the shoulders. Sometimes when I'm building and there's no obvious shoulder connections, I'll leave them, but I don't know, they probably should get filled in. Here's how they look after all the green stuff work has been done. Like the Goth and Roman Cav, these are kind of smaller horses, so I was able to fit them on 32mm rounds when I clipped the base down a bit. This is really ideal in the game of Saga, especially if you're running shooter Cav. It's time to get some paint on these bad boys. I'll show a little bit of how the horse was done. Everybody's looking for new ways to paint horses. Maybe you'll like the way I do it here. Probably more likely you'll decide this isn't the way that you want to do it. So I've got a couple thoughts in mind for what I'm doing here. First up, I'm testing out Pro Acryl paints. Got my hands on a set and an expansion for these. I've heard they cover great. I want to test that out. I've been using scale 75 lately, and like my video on that says, they cover for dog dookie pretty much. Second idea here, I feel like I've added too many steps to my painting process lately. I got a speed paint step, then I'm going to airbrush, and then I'm going to varnish before an oil wash. I'll oil wash. After that, hit it with some matte varnish. It's meant to be efficient, but I don't know. I think it's getting out of hand. So here I'm doing everything what I call brute force. No washes, just building up layers of paint. This will help with our saturation. I want these nice and bright. And that ties into our last goal here, which is getting a really nice contrast at the 2 to 3, 4 foot level. I feel like I've been putting too much emphasis on getting a good result at the 6 inches from your nose level. So we're going to push these highlight layers a little starker than I'm comfortable with, but hopefully we'll get a good result. So that was the plan going in. Testing out the Pro Acryls, I have to say I actually liked them a lot. I've heard how good the coverage is, so I actually layered on the first layer pretty thick in hopes that it would cover in one go. Some of the colors did do that, but unfortunately the browns weren't really doing that. So you've seen I took 2 coats for the initial base and then 2 more for the first highlight layer. From there, I'm kind of at war with myself as far as the 6-inch versus the 4-foot standard goes. I hit it with some extremely bold highlights and then sort of throttle it back. I do this a few times and end up with maybe a 2-foot standard. It's a little sloppier than what I do normally, but I'm really happy with the result. And basically this style of painting is what I do on the rest of the model. The other bits have less surface area, so it's a little more straightforward. You can do the dark to light highlight progression without having to worry about the transition so much. I'll show off just one additional aspect of the painting. If you know me, I gotta have purple somewhere. Usually I give all my leather bits a purple wash. Wasn't using washes here, so I figured I'd just lay down a purple base coat and then highlight it with some yellow ochre and then a final highlight of some ivory. Overall, looks pretty good, and then no matter what kind of brown I use on these horses, the straps will be distinct. Gotta have a comparison shot, of course. You can see the horse is a similar size to the Goth and Roman Cavalry I looked at a little earlier this year. The bigger one is a Gripping Beast metal model on top of a plastic Fireforge mounted Sergeant horse. I think I like the smaller horses here, less to paint and then easier to put on a circle base. As of this recording, there are no other plastic options for medieval Muslims/Arabs. You'd be looking at metal miniatures on metal horses, and I can say, looking at the finished product here, I'd go for these plastics. There are some gaps to fill, of course, and the face detail is kind of lacking compared to some of the more modern kits, but it avoids some issues that some of the other Gripping Beast plastics have. These guys aren't really hunchbacks, and I think the poses are pretty good. You can be the judge of that, though. If you have any questions about the kit, the paints, or anything else, just post below. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.
Saga!
If you'd like to see more Saga content, consider joining the Heathen Army over on Patreon or popping on down to the Saga Thursday Discord server. Links below. Thanks, guys.